Students, welcome. Today we shall study one of the oldest religions of the world, Judaism. Judaism is one amongst the three major monotheistic faiths of the world, including Christianity and Islam. It is one of the most practiced faith, especially amongst the people of Israel. As we all know that they go hand in hand. Judaism and Israel, they go hand in hand because Israelites, most of them, they are Jews, and indeed they established the nation of Israel on the Palestinian land on the claim that that is their promised land, promised to them by whom? Promised to them to be given to them by God. So that is the story, the basic of the basic storyline of history of Judaism. You get to learn in the book of Exodus and Genesis. Then now, historically, Judaism is one of the oldest world religions. Then people who follow this religion, that is Jewish religion, are called Jews. Okay, the Jewish religion started in Israel around 1812 BC during the Bronze Age, as early as that. Then it began when God promised Prophet Abraham that he would protect him and his descendants and give them the land of Israel. And in return for this, they promised to obey God. Okay, that is Prophet Abraham, one of the oldest prophets. Okay, and the almost believed to be the first prophets of the monotheistic faiths in Western civilization and Near Eastern culture. And many times people, the followers of monotheistic religions, they are often referred to as the children of Abraham as well. So that tells you that Prophet Abraham was the first prophet under whom the people of the land, as they are called, the Jews, were promised this, that they would be protected against the harms. And who promised it? They were promised about it by God, that they would be protected against injustices. In return, what they were supposed to do? They were supposed to obey the commandments of God. And this message of promised land and protection was delivered to them with the mediation of Prophet Abraham. Okay, and the book, the holy book that Jews follow is called as the Torah. Okay, that's the name of the book that the Jews follow as their holy book. It is called as the Torah, and they believe it as the holiest books, which is descendant from the heavens and which is delivered by God himself, again with the mediatorship of Prophet Abraham. Okay, and there are few core beliefs of Jews. Okay, Judaism has few core beliefs, such as Jews believe that there is only one God. Okay, and that he created the universe, and this is formally called as the monotheistic faith, where mono refers to single or one. Theism, as you all know, refers to belief in God. So monotheism is nothing but belief in one God. That is the first and foremost foregrounding belief of the Jews. Okay, and they also believe that everyone can have an individual and personal relationship with God. Okay, they are very deeply rooted into religion, and they profoundly believe that the God exists on one-on-one basis. They can communicate with their creator. Then they also believe that God continues to work in the world, affecting everything that people do. Like any other major religions of the world, they also do believe that God is always at work. Okay, with his creation, and he always does justice. Then there are few important people of Jewish tradition or Judaism, and who is the father, who is the founding father of this faith is none other than Prophet Abraham. Prophet Abraham is the father of Jewish people. He did not establish this particular faith called Judaism. He did not name it as such, but Jews believed that they descended from the prophet Abraham. Okay, and Jews see Abraham as a symbol of trusting and obeying God. He was a very pious and obeying man to God. Then Abraham is also important to followers of the other two monotheistic major religions of world, Christianity and Islam. Okay, so you see that these three monotheistic faiths, they are grounded on the same core beliefs. They are grounded with the foundation laid by the same important people like Prophet Abraham, Prophet Moses. Okay, and indeed Prophet Moses, who succeeded Prophet Abraham much later, is believed to be the founding father of the faith of Jewish people, that is the religion of Judaism, because they believe that they descended from Prophet Moses, and they live their life and go by the 10 commandments sent by God to Prophet Moses. So Prophet Moses is like a iconic figure. He is the founding figure of the religion of Judaism, though when it comes to the tradition of being the descendants, they believe that they descended from the first prophet Abraham, which God whom God acclaimed as the first prophet. And later on, as the time went by, they believe that Prophet Moses is their prophet through whom the faith of Judaism was established. Okay, the story of Abraham is told in the book of Genesis in chapters 12 to 25. Okay, then next, as I was telling you, Moses is also an important figure. Okay, as he gave Jews the Torah, and because he brought the God's book Torah, which is almost like God's word to them, as holy as that, they believe that Prophet Moses is their prophet sent to them by God to deliver God's message of justice and peace and happiness and prosperity to Jews. It was around 1250 BC. Okay, it was around 1250 BC that Torah came to them. The Torah contains the laws of God. Okay, and Moses is the leader. And why do they believe him as the propounding prophet and leader of their clan or religion? Is that he is the one who freed Jews, the people of Israel, from slavery in Egypt. Okay, they were taken as slaves by Egyptian kings and Egyptian kingdom, and Prophet Moses freed them from this slavery. Okay, and he protected Jews also from the wrath of God and negotiated God on their behalf, that if they would obey God and obey his 10 commandments. Okay, the famous 10 commandments which were delivered to Prophet Moses on Mount Sinai. Okay, Mount Sinai, he received the 10 commandments of God. He acted as a mediator between God and his people, that if they would be obedient to God, they would be given protection and they would be given their promised land. And how did he save Israelites when they were slaves under Egyptian kingdom? That there is that famous story in Exodus, right, and also Genesis, that he had these magical powers, more than magical powers. He had this blessed powers given by God, that he just struck the sea with his stick, and the sea parted into two, and the Israeli people, the Jews, were able to pass through that way and hence escaped from the slavery under Egyptian kingdom. Okay, it is believed to be a myth or fiction or the work of the mind or imagination by most of the researchers, but you also find evidences in the books of Exodus and Genesis, and also the age-old Exodus stories, okay, which have been preserved in the form of scrolls in and around the Mediterranean Sea and the Dead Sea and even in caves of Israel. So you can't completely deny that it was all work of imagination and mind. It might have been true because it was somewhere in BC's. We can't completely claim that this is actually happened and exactly this is how it happened, but the recent researchers in these fields tell us that these incidents might have actually taken place. Okay, so these were a few foregrounding topics in the world famous religion of Judaism. And about Judaism, we have just briefly discussed history, belief, and important people of Judaism. In the next slides, we shall see few more core concepts of Judaism as a faith.